Crafty Clan, did you know you can use Google Analytics for your Etsy shop to try and figure out what kind of social media platform might be best to push your items, either to have a page or a group, or even if you're going to go into the step of advertising, you can use your Google Analytics data to do this. Now, obviously, you have to set up your Google Analytics data for your shop. I'm not going to show you that here today because over on eRank, my friend Anthony went over a step-by-step video. You can see the video if you join erank.com. If you join eRank Facebook group, and on erank.com/blog, you'll see the blog post taking you step by step through it. So if you haven't set up your Google Analytics for your shop, then you can totally do this. It's relatively simple with a step-by-step guide. Couple of really important things to note. There's a couple of codes you can get from Google. You want the UA one. And also, if you set this up ages ago and you're not getting any data, the likelihood is that you need to check on the blog for step 2. I didn't know this until a couple of years ago when Anthony told me that nobody talks about this in tutorials or anything. So you have to add this step 2. But once you've got your Google Analytics up and running, there's a lot you can use the data with. So if this is something you're interested in, I'll go into this more in future. But I just wanted to show you some of the data that's there and that's available for you, just to find out a little bit about our audience, to get some ideas on what we can do with social media. So let's dive into this by hitting the right tabs. Hopefully you go over here. That is the wrong tab. That's the right tab. Technology is great. Right, so let's have a look at this. In fact, firstly, I just want to show you, I mentioned the blog, so erank.com/blog, and then you'll see how to set up Google Analytics for your Etsy shop. Anthony went over this on a live on the Facebook group, but there's a whole blog article here. Our Jan transcribed it. She's fantastic at doing this. So there's a whole step-by-step with everything you've got to click on. Totally great. And then once you get it all set up, now it's only going to start collecting data from the days that you set it up. So if you've just set it up, you won't have a whole load of data, but if you've had it running for a while, you will. But it's important to do it now, then you'll get the data for everything that's happened over Christmas, so you can come back and check it, and we'll do lots more things on stats in the new year, because you get more accurateness when you've basically had more visits. The more data you have, the more important. So what I just want to look at just now is audience. People ask all the time, what social media should I be using? How do I use it and everything? Now, so I just want to show you this, a quick little thing. Couple of tabs here. So we've gone into, from the analytics home, we've gone into audience. And firstly, I want to look at demographics. Super simple. So just the overview for this. Now, what I'm going to do, that's only showing us like a week. We want more data. So let's just be really sneaky and put it down for the whole of a year, slightly more than a year. And then we get much better demographics. So, interestingness. Firstly, the thing that I wasn't expecting, but this is good news, is 23% of my visitors to my shop are between 25 and 34. So that's skewing a little bit younger. Not 18 to 24 less, and the 65 plus less. But that whole middle-age spread, I'm covering that quite well. And not a surprise at all, but 75% of my audience to my Etsy shop, this is my Etsy shop, by the way, is female. So that gives me some idea a little bit about who's coming to my shop. So even those age ranges and the gender tell me something. But I mean, bear in mind, if you see that your audience, that all the people are coming to your shop are all female, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to make just female related products because females buy for males. But this can give you an idea. Okay, I know my audience is skewing, is in the 25 to 34 range. So I could say this is the niche, that this is the start of the narrowing down a niche. What I'm looking for is, my target audience is really a 30-year-old woman. That is my ideal audience. So she might have kids, she might have a partner, she might have family and friends and, all sorts of things. So I just put that in the back of my mind. I want to tell you, actually, before we go much further here, I want to tell you one trick about using data. I've, in my working life for many years, data has been an important part of it. And one thing that people get super wrong with data is they try and make everything add up. They try and go deep into the weeds. You just want literally a page like this. Look at it for 3 seconds. You go, oh, 25 to 34, that's interesting. 75%, that's interesting. It's not set in stone. I don't have to do any computationalness with it. I just look and I go, there we go. Oh, mostly females. That's interesting. That's about all you need. You don't need to make everything add up and get right down in the weeds. So we know we have an idea in our head here. The second bit that is super, super interesting is interests. So I won't go deep into this. Again, we can click into the overview, and this gives some of the metrics. So affinity category, this is talking about the interests of people, and specifically it's also talking about the likely things that they're going to be buying, that they're interested in buying. So this is super important, like if you're paying for ads or something, but it also gives you some ideas. I mean, in the affinity section, third one down, we're talking about book lovers. Well, that's no surprise. My bookmark has been really popular, but it gives you an idea. People who are looking at books, book lovers. So does that give me an idea of the kind of photographs I've been taking that have been more themed towards someone who likes books, libraries, that kind of aesthetic? Unfortunately, value shoppers, but I think many of us, if you've looked at any kind of discount site, you'll probably show up as something like that. So again, don't read too much into it. On the in-market segment, women's apparel, it's not surprising, 75% women. They look at clothes as well. Home furnishings. So we're not seeing anything major surprising. Other category, other always makes it sound like not important, but this is like even more narrowed down. So if we look in, the second one is dogs, and then the third one is textile arts. I make sculptures in fiber of dogs. Stands to reason that an interest. So this is not a surprise, but we look at other things. Okay, so this 30-year-old woman likes baked goods. She likes DIY and expert content. So maybe I should be doing some more tutorials, PDFs and things. She likes gardening. When the sun's out, maybe I should snap some of my sculptures outside. So there's some ideas. And you can jump into these narrow down, dig a little bit deeper. Don't go too deep. We can see the times when users were on. But one thing that is really cool, you can see for the people, now it's sorted by users first of all. So this is really important. You're seeing in the affinity, the top likes of the people that are coming to my shop, like 30-minute chefs, that is weird, and then value shoppers, and then book lovers. And we can see the number of people that are into all these things. That's cool. But we can also see how many pages when they came to my shop, how many pages did they look at, or the bounce rate. Now, right, I have to read this I have to check this every single time, but to get it the right way around. But a bounce rate of 100% means someone came to your one page and went, and left again. They didn't go anywhere else in your shop. So we can have a look. If we click on the column header, it organizes, first of all, it organizes by highest first, but let's go with lowest first. So these are the groups that looked at my page and then looked at other pages. So 40%, they looked at more than one page. This is really cool. But if we look at the number of users for an entire year, that's only 12 people. I don't know where I got 4 from. So we want to look. I always, when I'm looking at data like this, I want to look at something that has better than normal bounce rate and with a standout slightly higher things. So where we're looking at here, 73% bounce rate, something that stands out a bit higher. They frequently eat lunch out. So she's a lady that lunches. Interesting. Maybe that this my buyers have a little bit more money. Maybe I should start doing to the horsey crowd a bit more. Only kidding, by the way. But they're also romance and drama movie fans. So you can really dig in. There's some really cool stuff in here. It's just to get an idea. You're not stuck in stone. What you do is you think up one target audience, you cater to it, you see how it works. You can cater some Facebook interest to that and see how it works, or social media. So yeah, in market segments, again, we can have a sort by the bounce rate if we wanted to see if anything interesting cottons on. I don't worry too much about the bounce rate, because you don't have to worry if they come to your page and they don't click somewhere else because they've bought on that page. That's a good thing. They didn't need to look somewhere else. So don't worry too much about the bounce rate, but it's a kind of fun metric to be able to look at and say, okay, if someone clicks about the whole of my shop for a while, then they have to be a bit more interested in me. So where I've sorted by this, that it's literally very low view. So let's scroll down till we get something a bit higher. Ooh, campers and RVs. That is interesting. Financial services, luxury vehicles. Again, we're getting an idea of maybe they've got a bit of money. Advertising and marketing services, professional people by the sounds of things. But home improvement, that's another thing. So if you're seeing a lot of home improvement things, then maybe you could hang around in Facebook groups that are to do with home improvement. I don't mean spam them with your things, but get to know people in that demographic. Definitely seems to be liking their homes. Mercedes-Benz, we are seeing money. I'm liking it. Oh, Fiat and Peugeot. And again, when we look into the other categories, these are fun to click through. Takes a wee minute to get all the data. Come on. So yeah, as we said, dogs, crafts, and fiber. But let's do the bounce rate again. It's a bit of fun. Who hangs around once they've come to my page? Ooh, ice cream and frozen now what did I, okay, it's a low number, but what did I say? A question. I don't have many horses on my site, but people from Horsey World, the 11 of them when they came, they went around a couple of pages. That's good. But yes, so arts and entertainment, humor. So they've got a bit of a sense of a humor. I suppose you have to hang around with me, so that's fine. Board games, laptops, bed and bathroom. There's another housey thing again. Let's get some bigger numbers here. Recently married. Now, I did a while back focus. I had some people buy for my items to be ring bearers or favors or table decor, in the bouquet. So yeah, absolutely. Recently married is some way I can look at. Art and craft supplies. Yep, crafty people. That makes sense. So yeah, and I'm not spending a lot of time looking at this. Ooh, email. Well, of course, they're on the internet. They like that social network. So this is good to know that they are into social networks. And on that, science and astronomy, love it. Funny pictures and videos. So you just want to skim through high level, looking at what steps out. Moving soon, people moving house, looking to decorate, looking to get gifts, looking to get goodbye gifts for people. But anyway, you might have some idea of some kind of specific person, group of people that might be liking your items. So what we can then do is go and look what social media is best for what kind of people. So let's look at the stats. So Omnicore Agency, you should be able to see the URL at the top here because I know I will forget to link it. But they've got the stats for all the social media groups. So let's have a look, and it's up to date 2021. So let's have a bit of data. Now, Facebook is pretty much the biggest, 2.85 billion monthly active users, which is amazing. So if you're wanting to target people, that's where people are. And on the mobile a lot. It's good to know. You can also see in your Google Analytics what device people are coming into your shop in as well. But they're coming to your shop on mobiles. They're coming to Facebook on mobiles in mass numbers. So think about, so many people are going like, oh, do I have to get a 8K camera or do I have to like photograph in super high definition? No, you have to take nice, clear photographs that aren't so cluttered because people are viewing it on a wee screen. And 1.7% of Facebook users are using a desktop. I'm such a Luddite. But here we have these demographics are great to see. So 56% of Facebook users are male. That is really surprising. So definitely if you've seen that your demographic is male, Facebook's the place to be. 44% are female. Now, I know I'm targeting female, but 44% of a couple of billion is a large amount. The largest demographic group are 25 to 35-year-olds. Hey, that's the group I was looking at. 70% of US adults, and 65 plus are the smallest demographic on Facebook. That totally makes sense. And yeah, 24% are the younger group, and that doesn't surprise me. We have heard that the youngsters are using Facebook less, but that's still a lot of people. But still, college graduates, 82% of college graduates are on Facebook. Now, that's interesting because didn't we say high income? Yeah, so Facebook could be good for me. And here, the 75% of online users with an income of more than $75,000 are on Facebook. So I can find my people with good money. That's nice to know. And Facebook is huge outside the US and Canada. Interesting. Etsy isn't, but they've said that they're going to be Etsy is going to be targeting India. India has the most users by a country mile. India has the most users on Facebook. So there's interesting if you want to hit this new market. Canadians like Facebook. That's good to know. So there we go. Interesting for Facebook. The second biggest, surprisingly, YouTube is a social media. I keep saying this, but people don't be listening. But more than 2 billion monthly active users on YouTube. So still a chance to hit a lot of people. And also, this 18 minutes a day on average on YouTube. I'd spend a lot more than that. And yeah, this is one. Total daily, every day on YouTube, 1 billion hours worth of videos are watched. Amazing. And the other thing, like Facebook, you can make money directly just because you're doing videos and stuff on Facebook, but it's not easy. But on YouTube, you can make money for making videos. So you can make videos to advertise your shop and get paid for it. So again, YouTube is 56% male, but those 44% female, if that's who you're aiming for, the 44% female of the 2 billion is still a billion. Nearly, that's a lot. Really popular in the US with 81% of all adults using YouTube. Really interesting. And I did not expect this actually. That's really good. 95% of the 18 to 29-year-olds in the US use YouTube. So if you were aiming for a younger group, YouTube might be the place to go. 91% of the 30 to 49-year-olds. So a lot of the younger people up to 65 are tending to use it more, and still half of 65 plus year olds in the US are using YouTube. Fantastic. But it's huge, not in the US as well. 37% of millennials binge watch YouTube daily. That is fantastic. If you are looking to hit if your demographic, and I said 30, didn't I? So if your demographic is a millennial, they binge watch YouTube daily, or quite a large amount. Good to know. Let's check Instagram now. My belief is Instagram's younger, but let's see. So Instagram, we're going half of YouTube, really, just over 1 billion. That's still a lot of people. You can come here and check. There's tons of stats here. We're just doing the overview. So interesting now, Instagram is more female. The first two were more male. More females use Instagram, but it's 50-50 really. 140 million Instagram users are from the US. And yes, we were right. 71% of US adults aged 18 to 29 use Instagram. That's amazing. But still huge outside the US. The US is not the biggest market for all of these, for any of these so far. 72% of teens use Instagram. So definitely if you're wanting to reach a younger demographic, that sounds dodgy. Don't mean it like that. But yeah. 73% of US teens say Instagram is the best way for a brand to reach them about new products or promotions. That's what they've said. And 130 million tap on a shopping post to learn more about it every month. So people do go from Instagram to buy things. And 30 minutes a day on the platform. So that's quite a long time on average. There we go. And 25% of US teens say Instagram is their preferred social media platform. There you go. That's Instagram words. And now let's go on to Pinterest. Don't try and say Instagram while you're reading the word Pinterest. So again, it's only about 500 million. So it's Facebook and YouTube are the top, then Instagram, and then Pinterest, just by the number of active users. But that is still, if you can only get a fraction of a percent of those active Pinterest users to look at your pin, that's a lot of sales. So it's growing year on year. That's good to know. And hugely, 77% of Pinterest audiences are female. Very interesting to know. So out of them all, if you're targeting females, Pinterest, yep. The age seems reasonably well split across the ages. It's skewing slightly older. So 50 to 64-year-olds are nearly 40% of Pinterest users. So if you're aiming for the slightly older demographic, Pinterest's the place to go. Germany's the second largest market. Interesting. And yes, I've heard this one before. Nearly 90% of users are on Pinterest for purchase inspiration. Now, although I found when I got lots of views from Pinterest, my conversion was fairly low. It's high traffic, and what people are doing, they go on Pinterest to make their boards, to gather stuff together, and they're planning, what is it that I'm going to buy? So, it's like a kind of add to cart. People have saved your item, but they might find something better, or they might not get around to it, but it's still saved there and they might come back and buy. But that's their idea, is they're looking for stuff to buy. So it's a good place to put up things that are for sale, really. At the end of the day, I mean, why do people go to Facebook? It's generally to connect with people, waste time, all sorts of things. YouTube again, what is their why? Why are they on YouTube? The biggest reason people come to YouTube, well, two. One is how to. How do I fix this thing, what I broke? Let's get a video quickly. Or to be entertained. People aren't necessarily shopping. You can still use it that way, but you have to be entertaining or educational first. Whereas Pinterest, they want to shop. So that's awesome. You see different statistics here. They're from suburban areas, and the medium age is over 40, but active pinners are below 40. 25% of social media marketers are using Pinterest. There we go, folks. That's all the ones I have data on for just now. Hopefully that's kind of interesting. As I say, that when you are doing data, when you are doing any of these kind of things, now because I was talking to you about these things, so that took a little bit longer. In general, I would maybe do something like this every 3 months, every 6 months, get a top level view. I just say, okay, my 30-year-old woman in the United States in general, but my 30-year-old woman, actually, no, mine are UK. My 30-year-old woman in the UK likes dogs and horses and is searching for things about books or getting married. So I could think to myself, okay, so for the next 6 months, well, for the next 3 months, my social media campaign, I'm going to try and photograph things that look kind of bookish, make my backgrounds look a little bit more library, which just involves I have a table that has some interesting stained wood and I'll stack some books up. Looks kind of good. So we'll try that. We'll try and go for that dark academia vibe when we're photographing things. We'll try that for 3 months, see how that works. If that doesn't work, I'll quickly check the stats again, check the demographics, see what's happening, but also maybe go back doing bright white backgrounds, single flower, make it look weddingy and see how that works. So that's just something to do. I know my places to look for people. Definitely, woman, I might be hitting up Pinterest a little bit more. Facebook, I will pick just because of the vast numbers and the fact that I'm there and I enjoy it. So, anyway, I hope that just gave you some ideas, some little bits of inspiration, but do not spend a vast amount of time on this. Check your data. Boom, boom, boom. That's interesting. That's interesting. Let's get out of here because it's way more important to be making your posts on social media, to be making your listings, to be talking to your customers than it is to be digging through stats. And I love stats. Okay, anyway, see you next time. Thank you so much.